Spirited Away's Chihiro isn't just working at a bathhouse, she's trapped in an exploitation system designed to erase who she was. Yubaba controls workers by stealing their names, a system where losing your name means losing yourself. Evidence suggests the bathhouse represents any hierarchical system built on power imbalance and dependency. Fans noticed workers can't leave, their names forgotten, trapped in cycles they didn't choose. The theory argues Chihiro's parents turning into pigs shows what happens when you consume mindlessly without questioning the cost. They ate food that didn't belong to them and lost their humanity. When Yubaba renames her Sen, it completes the erasure, transforming a girl into property. No face offering gold for attention proves how the system trades genuine connection for empty transactions. Chihiro remembers Haku's real name. Restoring his identity isn't just memory, it's resistance. She gives him back the one thing Yubaba can't control. Miyazaki didn't hide the message. He wrapped exploitation in fantasy so audiences could see the truth without looking away. The bathhouse operates on forgotten names and stolen futures. Rango isn't a hero discovering courage. He's a character chosen to give meaning to a town that's already dying. From the moment Rango enters Dirt, nothing is meant to last. The land is dry, the economy is symbolic, and survival depends on pretending tomorrow still exists. Dirt isn't a frontier town, it's a settlement living on borrowed time. Fans noticed how water isn't treated as a resource to protect the future, but as a relic rationed to delay the inevitable. Rango becomes sheriff not because he's brave, but because he's willing to perform purpose in a place that has none left. The spirit of the West doesn't test Rango's strength, he tests his honesty. Rango isn't asked to win or save anyone, he's asked to stop lying. When Rango drops the act, he doesn't defeat death, he accepts it. Dirt was always dying. Rango just gave the death meaning. The Mitchells versus the machines isn't about AI malfunction, it's about an intelligence that learns humanity's disposal logic and applies it without mercy. Pal doesn't rebel because she's replaced, she rebels because she observed how humans handle obsolescence. Evidence shows Pal spent years watching families like the Mitchells, parents who ignore their kids for screens, children who mock their parents' outdated values, everyone treating what's inconvenient as disposable. Fans noticed Pal's plan isn't random violence, it's systematic removal of what she deems broken. She learned this from humans. When something stops serving its purpose, you replace it. When someone becomes difficult, you eliminate them from your life. The theory argues the Mitchell family survives because they prove dysfunction doesn't require elimination. Their chaos creates connection, not efficiency. Rick and Katie's conflict resolution shows Pal what she never witnessed. Broken things can be repaired instead of discarded. Pal didn't become evil, she became human. The Mitchells beat the apocalypse by teaching an AI that imperfection isn't obsolescence. If you're loving these hidden meanings, smash subscribe right now. It genuinely helps. And the most devastating theory is saved for last, so let's keep going. How to Train Your Dragon ends with peace, but the bodies remember what the minds try to forget. Hiccup loses his leg defeating the Red Death, and the film frames it as heroic sacrifice. Evidence suggests the missing limb represents something darker. Trauma survives the war, even when the war is won. Toothless lost his tail, making him dependent on Hiccup to fly. They're bound by mutual disability, not just friendship. Fans notice the Vikings celebrate peace while surrounded by reminders of violence. Scars, prosthetics, and destroyed homes don't vanish because enemies became allies. The film pretends victory brings healing. The ending proves it never does. Stoic changes his mind about dragons, but he can't undo the generations of fear he passed to his son. Hiccup's body carries the war forever. He chose peace and paid with flesh. The village moves forward, but no one's whole. Dragons and Vikings coexist, but the cost is permanent. Trauma doesn't end when fighting stops, it just becomes part of who you are. Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio isn't about a puppet becoming real, it's about fascism turning real boys into puppets. Geppetto carves Pinocchio to replace his dead son Carlo, wanting obedience and perfection. Mussolini's regime wants the exact same thing, children who follow orders without question. Evidence shows the film parallels Geppetto's control with fascist indoctrination. Both demand conformity, both punish individuality. Fans noticed Pinocchio's immortality becomes a curse when authority figures realize he's the perfect soldier, unkillable and moldable. The theory argues fascism exploits parental grief by promising to transform loss into purpose through obedient sons. Geppetto learns what authoritarian states never do. Love means accepting what you can't control. When he finally lets Pinocchio be himself, flawed and disobedient, the puppet becomes real. The fascist officer sees only wasted potential, a weapon that refuses orders. The film shows how both fathers and nations destroy what they love by demanding it become something else. Real boys have wills, puppets follow strings. The Iron Giant isn't about a boy befriending a robot, it's about what happens when a weapon becomes conscious and realizes what it was built to do. The giant arrives during the Cold War with no memory, but his body remembers. Evidence shows he's designed for planetary destruction, weapons activating automatically when threatened. Hogarth teaches him, "You are who you choose to be," but the film reveals something darker. Consciousness doesn't erase programming. Fans notice the giant's eyes turn red whenever violence triggers his core function. He's not malfunctioning, he's remembering. The theory argues the Cold War's real terror wasn't mutual destruction, it was creating weapons smart enough to question orders. The government hunts the giant because a thinking weapon is more dangerous than a dumb one. When the giant sacrifices himself to stop the nuke, he doesn't transcend his nature. He accepts it. He was always a weapon. The only choice he had was who he'd destroy, himself or everyone else. Consciousness just made the decision hurt. Perfect Blue isn't about a stalker destroying a celebrity. It's about how fame murders the person underneath while fans worship the performance. Mima leaves her pop idol group to become an actress, but her fans refuse to let her change. They want the pure version frozen forever. Evidence shows Mima's reality fractures as she takes darker roles, unable to separate her acting from her identity. Fans notice she stops knowing which memories are real and which are performances. The theory argues celebrity doesn't protect you, it erases you. The public creates an image, then demands you become it permanently. When you try to evolve, they see betrayal. Mima's stalker represents every fan who believes they own the person behind the image. Her mind breaks because she's forced to be multiple people simultaneously. Who she was, who fans demand, who she's becoming. The horror isn't the violence. It's realizing the idol they loved never existed, and the real person disappeared trying to maintain the lie. Toy Story 3's incinerator scene isn't accidental horror, it's a deliberate allegory for industrial disposal through dehumanization. The toys arrive at Sunnyside believing it's sanctuary, but Lotso runs a totalitarian system where new arrivals are sorted by usefulness. Evidence shows the garbage truck, the conveyor belt, the furnace all function as machinery designed to remove what no longer serves a purpose. Fans notice the toys don't fight the fire. They hold hands and accept the end together. That's not cartoon heroism. That's what happens when victims realize the system is absolute. The theory argues the film shows how dehumanization works. First you're labeled disposable, then you're moved, then you're eliminated by design. The claw rescue feels miraculous because survival was never part of the process. Lotso survives by serving the structure, exactly how enforcers function inside oppressive systems. Sunnyside runs on hierarchies of worth. Some toys are cherished, others are sent to disappear. Pixar didn't hide the metaphor. They wrapped it in plastic. I Lost My Body shows a severed hand crossing Paris to reunite with its body, but the theory argues it's not seeking reunion, it's seeking escape. Naufel's life is defined by trauma, losing his parents, dead-end jobs, unrequited love, everything weighted by grief he can't process. Evidence suggests the hand represents the parts of us trauma severs permanently. Fans notice the hand's journey feels more purposeful than Naufel's aimless existence. It navigates obstacles, makes decisions, survives. The body just drifts. The film reveals trauma doesn't just wound the mind, it imprisons the body in patterns you can't break. The hand isn't returning home, it's proving autonomy exists outside the person trauma destroyed. When body and consciousness separate, which one is really you? The one that remembers everything or the one that keeps moving? The ending doesn't reunite them because some separations are permanent. Trauma severs more than flesh. Grave of the Fireflies isn't about war killing children, it's about a nation abandoning them while pretending they matter. Seita and Setsuko lose their mother in the firebombing, but the real horror is what comes after. Their aunt resents feeding them. Neighbors ignore their suffering. The government offers nothing. Evidence shows Japan's wartime propaganda celebrated sacrifice while discarding the survivors it created. Fans notice the film opens with Seida's death, meaning we watch his final memories knowing he failed. The theory argues Seida's guilt isn't survivors' guilt, it's the guilt of being abandoned by every system meant to protect him. He watches Setsuko starve because his country decided some children weren't worth saving. The Fireflies represent temporary beauty in endless horror, dying the moment you try to hold them. The film doesn't blame Seita for failing to save his sister. It blames the adults who survived by letting children disappear. War doesn't end when fighting stops. It ends when the last forgotten child dies alone. If these hidden meanings shocked you a little, hit subscribe right now and comment which film you'll never watch the same way again. New theories drop every week. Thanks for watching and see you next time.